Otaku Buddies, I'm Herman Frost, and this is Otaku Weekly, and today I am here to review Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, Episode 67. Yes, I will keep my promise and do a Let's Play with WaGo Pro at the end of the video, so stick around and you will see the duel. But with that being said, let me read the synopsis for this episode. Yuya is concerned about Gonki and Zako following his defeat. Chojuro tells Yuya what happens to the loser when they lose in the Friendship Cup. Rira is selected to duel, but runs away. He would later explain why he didn't want to duel Shinji Weber. Akaba Reggie sees this as personal growth, making Tsukikage duel in Rira's place. Rira then returns to Akaba Reggie's side. A flashback of Rira is then shown in a war-filled country, stripped of his sense of self as a defense mechanism. This goes off by showing the bond between Akaba Reggie and Rira. And you got to look at it like this. If Akaba Reggie, he could just, at the last moment, just say, hey, Tsukikage, duel in his place. What kind of fucking connections did he have to make that shit happen? Also, oh my fucking goodness, this was a character development episode, and I love character development episodes because they pretty much ask the viewer these questions like, can we relate to this character? Do we sympathize for this character? Has this character grown at all, or has he staying the same? Do we like this character now, or do we hate this character? Those line of questions are raised in a character development episode. And Rira, man, I honestly thought he was Akaba Reggie's brother. Not gonna fucking lie. And also, the way that Chojuro, he gets out of his room in this episode, it was too fucking convenient. I think that shit was kind of a setup, or maybe I'm just looking too much into it and wanted to be a setup to further the storytelling. Because look at it like this. Those two random ass comments pretty much have the discussion of where the losers go in the Friendship Cup. I'm just looking like, okay, you aren't even participants in the tournament, and yet you're outside of the participants' door. I'm just looking like, aren't the participants the only one allowed in that part of the building? What the fuck are you even doing there? Hey, correct me if I'm wrong here. And then Chojuro just manages to get the guy that can be bought with a fucking rare card. Too fucking convenient. And we get to see the friendship blossom between Yuya and Rira, because Rira pretty much runs to Yuya because he doesn't want to duel Shinji Weber, which is later on explained that he doesn't want to duel him because he showed acts of kindness to him, pretty much giving him candy and so on and so forth. And Akaba Reggie, his dominance over Rira is displayed in this episode. Not only does he have a bond with Rira, but he pretty much controls this kid as well. And Yuya doesn't fucking approve because he says, hey, you're constantly putting this little kid in harm's way, putting him in dangerous situations back to back to back to back to fucking back. And I gotta agree with that shit. As much as I don't want to, hey, this kid does not belong in the Lancers, doesn't belong in this kind of situation of crossing dimensions and dueling crazy ass psychopaths, pretty much trying to make your ass do forced labor for a long ass time. That being said, this was a character development episode. We finally got one for fucking Rira. I always wanted to know why this kid was so fucking twitchy, shy, scared, timid, whatever you want to call it. We finally get an explanation as to why he's acting this way, because he doesn't have any family, friends. He's in a fucking battlefield literally while a war is going on. I thought this kid was going to be like an orphan kind of thing like that, so he could relate to the kids from the Synchro Dimension. I thought he was pretty much an orphan, but they raised it up an even higher scale because they made this kid able, he could have died at any moment. Keep it 100. He could have died at any moment because tanks, machine guns, all this shit was around him constantly. And I'm just looking like, how the fuck is he even still alive? And what else happened? There was so much shit happening. Character development for Rira. Oh yes, Yuya and Akaba Reggie. They were going back and forth, back and forth. And Akaba Reggie, he pretty much won over Yuya. So they were pretty much trying to compete and have Rira choose between the two. And Akaba Reggie just says, there's a reason why he's here. And he just pretty much says, Rira, tell us the reason why you don't want to duel this guy. And he just tells him, hey, I don't want to duel him because he gave me some candy and he was nice. I'm just looking like, wow, Rira, you a fucking sellout for a candy bar? Fuck you, man. And the one thing I didn't like about Yuya was, if you catch this in this episode, he was like, hey, Akiba Reggie, give me some answers now. And Akiba Reggie says he's necessary to defeating Academia. He has dueling ability, just like any one of us, like me, like you. He's just as strong as us. So, Rira, Akiba Reggie, I keep missing those goddamn names up. Akiba Reggie pretty much answering Yuya's questions, and Yuya just keep on interrupting. Shut up! I said be quiet. And I'm looking like, you asked him to answer your questions, yet you're keep interrupting, telling him to be quiet. Come on, man. And you gotta look. If you caught this, they not only displayed that Akiba Reggie has control over this kid and have a bond with him, but he pretty much can control this kid. He have a brotherly bond towards him. He has a friendship bond as well. He believes in this kid. He trusts in this kid. He thinks highly of this kid for some odd reason. This kid has unimaginable skills if someone like Akiba Reggie believes in you on that scale. And that being said, at the end of this video, well, episode, Rira will go on to choose Akiba Reggie, because Akiba Reggie, he just says, you know what, fuck it. He just walks out the room, and Rira just sees colors like blue, purple. His vision starts to look fucking crazy. Then he rushes behind Akiba Reggie, says, hey, Akiba Reggie, I'm sorry. If you want me to duel him, I'm sorry. I'll go duel him. And I honestly think if he would have dueled Shinji Weber, he would have fucking dominated Shinji Weber, because Rira, he got skills now. He got skills. And with that being said, we get to see a flashback of him in the war, pretty much a war-like backgroundish kind of vibe with it. And we also get to see him pretty much in like a trance type state, pretty much emulating the person in front of him, doing everything the person does in front of him, because he lost his sense of self, as it was told in this episode. And with that being said, man, it was a fucking crazy episode. I'm just looking like, how the fuck did Akiba Reggie get the connections to make Tsukikage get in his place? Also, the card that Chojuro bribed his escort with was left behind in Yuya's room. I was wondering, is Yuya going to use that card in his deck to make a future version of Odd Eyes? Because Odd Eyes has two synchro versions of them. I believe he has the Meteor and the Clear Wing. I don't know. It probably was just a random ass card that got left behind, because it looked kind of important to me. But with that being said, next week's episode we get to see Tsukikage versus Shinji Weber, and I believe the guy that always has the I believe they're called Dual Chasers or some shit like that, the security team. He pretty much has his team there trying to catch Shinji Weber. And I think Shinji Weber, he has to lose, because the Lancers, they need a fucking victory here. They lost too much. I'm rooting for Tsukikage to win, because the Lancers, they look like garbage at the moment. I hope Tsukikage wins. But that being said, I honestly think Shinji Weber will lose, and he will either go back to the detention facility or the underground facility. And that being said, you guys, in the words of Dennis, the show must go on.